How to tell my 37 female boyfriend, 38 male, that we are so broke we need to go to the food bank. Update at end. I have a job and I have a side business. It's slow season for my business, so income is next to nothing. I recently changed jobs to a better paying one and steady hours. But I'll get a half-paid check on the 15th and my full pay will be on the 29th. My old job did not pay nearly enough or give me enough hours, so my last pay from them will only have 4 hours worth. I got paid 2 days ago. I paid about half the bills and I have $80-ish to last me. I haven't gotten groceries or dog food, plus there are more bills to be paid. I've asked my boyfriend to spend money wisely because I literally have no extra money. I spent the day yesterday looking for loose cash around the house and taking in bottles and cans to pay a little more on bills. The boyfriend did fill up my gas tank so I could get to work for the next little while. Yes, my boyfriend should chip in more with the bills. He doesn't. Yes, it's a problem I'm working on. Either way, it doesn't solve my immediate problem. Food. I found my local food bank and I can pick up a basket of food after applying for it. Catch? They want the IDs of everyone in the household, but only one of us had to be present. I obviously need his consent to take his ID. I'm beyond embarrassed admitting that my business has put me so behind on bills that I had to go to the food bank. I really don't know how to approach this. Any advice? Update. This post generated a lot more attention than I thought it would. Thank you for the kind words that some people left. I obviously couldn't read all of the comments as there were so many. I did not include every detail in the original post as I didn't want to make it too long. It was late, I was upset, and needed to get it off of my chest. Here are some answers to some themes I noticed and additional details. 1. My business is selling baked goods at farmers markets. I sold at 4 main weekly markets over the summer season. It's slow during the fall before the Christmas season begins, which for us, isn't till mid-November. It's not an MLM. 2. My boyfriend does have a Ford job. Where does his money go? Before he started living with me, he lived with his sister, helping her raise her 3 kids. They rented a place together. He still pays her his portion of the rent and says he will continue to do so till their lease ends in the spring. But of course, with rising costs, he's worried about her being able to afford a place on her own with the kids. Their bio dad is a deadbeat and barely pays child support. My boyfriend does spend a lot of money on takeout though, and I'm trying to curb that habit. 3. I am not asking people for money. If anyone offers, I will say no. I'm not going to ask for random handouts from strangers in the internet. 4. For those of you pointing out I'm too old, thanks for that. BC, it's not already in the back of my head. I'm not perfect. I have a past, insecurities, and in some ways I am a shitty person. 5. I live in a smaller city. There is only one food bank. I can't go find another. I will most likely not be going there after someone pointed out I'd be taking food out of other kids' mouths. Now I can't get that image out of my head. I am a fat kid, so I guess starving myself for a while won't kill me. I can probably find more loose change around the house, vehicle, and get a Costco hot dog on the drive home for a while. I also have a friend who owns an egg farm. He's agreed to give me eggs he can't sell to the grocery stores for a while. 6. I have no kids, just a dog. The dog will not starve. I will make sure he has food before I do. It won't be the as high quality food for a while, but he has an iron stomach and he's not picky. 7. Yes, there is much more to contribute to a household than finances. Unfortunately, with my depression, I find it difficult to get anything done around the house, and the boyfriend is happy to let everything slide as well. 8. Yes, I am in therapy. But, sadly, with my new job, it's going to have to go on hold for a while as I had to give up my weekly slot as I'd be working. She doesn't have any vacancies outside of my working hours right now, and obviously I really need this job. I think I've covered everything. The man would rather watch you starve than contribute to the bills? Oh, honey, no. I don't follow the problem here. Let me play it back to you. You and your boyfriend live together. He doesn't chip in half of the bills, and you shoulder majority of your cost of living. You can't afford food, so you need to go to the food bank, and for that, you need his ID. If that's the case, it's exactly what you need to say to him. We can't afford food. I found a solution and need your ID. The end. If he's no longer in your household, you won't need his ID. You haven't actually said what he contributes, you've jumped straight to being defensive about it, so I can only assume it's very little and that he's a useless bum. You're defensive about it, but let's be frank here. You didn't get you so far behind on bills, he did. Since you, not him, are working on him becoming a productive part of the income, you can tell him that fact. That you need to go to the food bank because he's not working. Why does he have access to your money? You're broke because of him. You're afraid to talk to him when really this should be a wake-up call to get his act together. I don't understand why you're so desperate to keep a man who's literally going to make you go hungry. Your boyfriend is a leech and you should break up with him. Not really sure what you expected, really. Wife's 40F, best friends, 36F, husband, 32M, tried to kiss my wife. What should we do? Kind of hard to put in a title, but my wife's best friend's husband has always had a thing for my wife. Her best friend knows and makes jokes about it, but aside from a little light groping, nothing has ever happened. Last night, he came into our master bathroom where she was fixing her hair and grabbed her from behind and tried to kiss her. She said stop and told him to get out before they both got murdered, and that was it. They came out together and always suspicious because of the feelings. She asked why they left the room together. My wife said he went in there to pee. Her friend thought it was weird that he went into our bathroom to pee when there are 2 other bathrooms everyone always uses. They end up fighting for about an hour and then left. They're fine now, but she is just under the impression that her drunk husband went into our bathroom to pee. We're not sure if we should tell her what happened. On one hand, I like being truthful with everyone, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be worth the drama. I said if the roles were reversed, I would want to know. But she doesn't want to ruin their friendship. What do we do? Is this real? Apart from some light groping, while you both seem content to tolerate and minimize his behavior, you're now protecting him and lying to his wife. Surely your empathy and morals aren't that clouded and skewed? If you can't do anything else, you should allow her to find better friends. The guy's into your wife and deliberately crossing boundaries. Why are you ignoring this? Tell his wife what happened. She deserves to know the facts. So some light groping is okay? This is so weird. I would tell her. I think it would be weird not to. I actually think there is more risk involved not telling her, because if she finds out on her own, then she feels like a bigger fool. As well, it's weird how your wife isn't as upset as she should be. Same with you. I assume you are upset, but I would not this guy in my life anymore if he made a move on my wife. That should be the end of the friendship between you, your wife and him. Is it just some big joke that everyone laughs how he has the hots for your wife? Outside of some light groping and attempt to kiss, it's all jokes? It's weird. This dude would be expelled from our lives immediately. Come on now. Why are the 2 of you invested in protecting this creep? The poor wife, the only person in the dark about what really happened, while the rest of you lied to her. Gross. Wife's big mistake is telling him to stop, not because she was not interested but because they would both be killed. This is leading him on. She should have said that she was not interested. My 25 female, BF, 28 male, feels bad for doing something I gave him consent to do. Why? To keep it short, my boyfriend of 3 years now, with consent, felt me up in my sleep. I told him I like it and, I do. I had given him explicit consent to do so because I like the idea of being woken up that way. Call me a freak IDC. But he never did it, but finally he worked up the nerve to put his bits by my face, and then stopped himself, woke me up to apologize and said it felt really rapey and has been sulking over it and beating himself up about it since yesterday. I'm just now sure how I should handle this. I've told him over and over again that it's okay. He didn't do anything wrong, and if he doesn't want to try again it's perfectly fine. But he feels really bad about even trying it. He bought me my favorite gummies today and has been very attentive and extra sweet, but I kind of don't like it because I know it's coming from him feeling bad over something I gave him permission to do. Honestly, I just really feel bad about the whole thing myself. Like if I never told him he could do that, he wouldn't have tried it and then we wouldn't be here sad face. He said he was open to trying new things and that it sounded like a hot idea. And I made sure several times that it was okay, but now he's just beating himself up about it all day. I just need some help. Sometimes people are willing to try this and then halfway through they decide it's just not their vibe. It's totally okay. And frankly, it's probably better he respects you too much to do it rather than the opposite. Just remind him you wanted to try something and it's okay he didn't like it and you don't have to do it again, but just reassure him you asked for it and it's okay he tried it even if it felt weird and he didn't like KT. Sometimes fantasies get to stay fantasies. And other times you can act them out by simulating them. How about this? You pretend to be asleep, and he starts to feel you up or do things with you. You act groggy and unconsciously open your legs or your mouth. This gives an out, so that it appears to be CNC, but you both are awake and able to stop should either of you feel uncomfortable. Okay, but the same way that your kink is okay, his not having that kink is also fine. Honestly, take it as good news that your boyfriend isn't turned on by a presenting non-consensual unconscious person. I also don't think I could go through with that. He's right, it would feel rapey, regardless of your consent. He's just not comfortable. Honestly, it's a green flag. It's frustrating, but you can't force him to like your kink. I like CNC, but I won't do it with my boyfriend cause he's just not comfortable with it, so we don't do that. Try and find a middle ground or possibly something entirely new for the both of you. Honestly, this is a sign that you have a good and respectful partner. If this makes him uncomfortable, try not to cross that boundary and ask him to try it again. Maybe something like this happened to him in a previous relationship and it makes him uncomfortable? I don't want to speculate, but maybe ask him if you guys can talk about it. This is a green flag, I promise you. It would be worrisome if it didn't make him feel some type of way the first time because you're asleep and not able to consent at the present time. Not to be patronizing, I get how this is frustrating, but it is very sweet and wholesome how he's trying to make it up to you. It's just an incompatibility, and that doesn't mean you have to break up. I know we can all get a bit drastic on here, but he clearly does not like it at all. I think you're both beating yourselves up too much. You tried. It didn't work. Maybe in future you can try a more obvious roleplay scenario if you want to try again, but for now I would give it a minute. Stbx, 29 male, seems upset. I, 32 female, don't want to stay friends after split. How to handle this? My Stbx husband, 29 male, and I, 32 female, have been friends with each other for about 15 years. Together for 10 years. We have 3 kids between the ages of 8 and 3. In the past couple years he cheated on me, at least 3 times, and left me twice. This last time I honestly hit a point where I was cool with having an open relationship so long as we kept things as normal as possible for the kids and both helped maintain the household and our way of life. Apparently that still wasn't a good enough compromise, and he initiated divorce talks a few weeks ago. I've been trying to keep things as normal as possible for the kids during the holidays and have still been talking to and hanging out with him in the meantime. He asked about us being friends with benefits, which I don't want. I mentioned I honestly don't want contact with him at all after the split is official unless it's an emergency about the kids. He seems to think we'd still hang out and stuff and is now super upset. He says we're still family. I said we have kids but won't be family after we split. That the kids and I are family and he and the kids are family, but we won't be after the divorce. To me it's like how my cousins have cousins on the other side of their family but I'm not family with them despite sharing relatives. So I really don't see any point in staying friends because it will just make it harder to move on and make it awkward when I start dating again. His reaction has me questioning myself though. I'm autistic and have very set ways in thinking sometimes, so maybe this isn't the right way to think? He was my first serious relationship, so I really don't have much to go on. Is it weird to not want to stay friends? What's the best way to handle this situation? He's a backstabber who can't be trusted and already tried to leave you twice. Not to mention the cheating. Who needs a friend like that? Now, thing is, he doesn't actually mean he wants friendship with you. He very clearly wants sexual access. It'd be very convenient for him. Definitely cut contact. This dude is awful. He's using you big time, op. What you said is 100% true. I would also use a third party to do exchanges so he gets the hint. He will have to organize birthdays for the kids when he has them, as will you. Everything is now separate. Just tell him you think it's wiser to work on having the best co-parenting relationship possible for the best interests of your children. The way you've spelled it out here makes sense to me. Him proposing FWB and still wanting to hang out sounds like he's an emotional leech. Just get the divorce. Your quality of life is going to improve. Nah, you're not off base here at all. This guy cheated multiple times, left you twice, and now wants to keep it casual, friends with benefits, deal? That's wild. He's upset because he still wants the perks of your connection without the commitment or responsibility. You're not obligated to play along just to keep him comfortable. Honestly, you've got every right to draw that line for yourself. You're co-parents, and that's it. He doesn't get to redefine family on his terms when he's the one who trashed the relationship. Keep your boundaries solid for your own peace of mind. Focus on the kids, let him handle his own feelings, and trust your gut here. You don't owe him friendship and should prioritize your needs over his, considering he is the one that stepped out and is also the one initiating the divorce. He's chosen to remove himself from your relationship. It's very selfish of him to expect you to still emotionally or physically support him.